So this would literally have to be one person
One person
winding
just
up the rope.
winding up the yeah,
And it's
winding
not
up
that
every
easy.
box of the
Like you have
rope.
to make sure it's
Oh,
tight to the thing. And
yeah,
so kudos to
yeah.
the rope winder at Kensington Gate.
Yes.
Welcome everybody to Two Asians, One Board.
Welcome. Happy Friday. This is not our usual day that we record, but
Yeah, but we have the luxury of March break. Well, every day is March break to you, Rio.
Nowadays, I don't know. I think to some extent, yes, but also to another extent,
Hard work.
not really.
Yeah, on one extent, you're not working, but you're working all the time.
I'm working all the time. It's like I was listening to a Trevor Noah podcast, and it was on the topic of like motherhood. Like, as one of the hosts recently gave birth to the third baby, and they were talking about how like Trevor himself experienced some of the his friends having a baby, and he was there supporting them. And one of the things that he said after like 5 hours of like continued crying between those twin babies was, when is it over? When is it done? And the answer is literally never. It keeps on going. So yeah, that's how I feel. It's a never-ending cycle of napping, cleaning, and eating, and playing, and all that jazz.
Yeah. It gets a little bit better as they get older, but you're still in that slavery phase.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I hear that it gets better once they start having a little bit more independence over themselves. But not there yet.
I've been, we had visitors for the first 3 or 4 days of March break, but then we basically have 3 days now of literally nothing to do and no dance. So, although my daughter's danced this afternoon just for an hour, but no dance jail, no work, no school means lots of gaming. And,
that's wonderful.
So we got lots to talk about today.
Yeah, a lot of gaming that has happened over the past week.
So I want to issue an errata. Last week we said it's posted as episode 10.
No. Yeah.
But actually the last time's episode, and it should have been 9, and then the last episode was 10, and today is episode 11. So anyway, not that it really matters, but season 2, episode 11. Yeah.
Season 2.
Also want to give a shout out to the owner of a local bao place on Bank Street who follows us and listens and likes our content. The local owner of Gung Fu Bao on Bank Street. So if he's listening, thank you for the yummy baos, and it suits our Asian sensibilities.
100%. Yeah. So they have by far, I think, the best bao in Ottawa. And
they actually serve a lot of these kind of OG Hong Kong style, like small, like if you speak Cantonese, cha chan tang type food, which is like hard to find basically, if you're not in Hong Kong or Toronto. So that's also super appreciated. And there's been a mass exodus in Ottawa recently of Cantonese food and restaurants as the old generation retires. The new generation doesn't want to open up and run a restaurant as a career. And a mass exodus of Cantonese people back to Toronto, Vancouver, and back to Hong Kong. And so we really lost a lot of Cantonese food in this city, which is too bad. It's too bad.
Yeah. Well, at least there's no shortage of pho and Vietnamese places. I don't think there ever will be in Ottawa.
Yeah, like what happens is the Chinatowns get replaced by pho, right? That happened in Toronto, and but pho was great though.
That's great.
Yeah. In other news, I don't know if you saw this, Rio, but Agricola, so the OG kind of Uwe Rosenberg game, maybe the oldest game that I own, is coming out with a new edition from Awaken Realms. And so Awaken Realms makes these big campaign kind of games with miniatures and everything. And so it's come a new special edition with like actual like cow miniatures and stuff. Like I have special wooden meeples that look like the animals, but this is actually like cow miniatures, like a big 3D version of Agricola.
No way. It sounds like they're following the footsteps of Catan in making
3D Catan.
3D Catan, and now they're actually currently campaigning for not just the 3D Catan, but like a more realistic version of a 3D Catan that goes further than the initial 3D version that they have
With
produced. So
like actual buildings and stuff.
actual buildings, yeah, like
Wow.
more realistic looking animals and yeah, things
Wow.
that are beyond my comfort. Or it's, I mean, there are enough people. There's like enough big enough of a following of Catan. I think that they'll for sure succeed.
I
But
can't imagine
yeah,
because there's a lot of meeples in Agricola. I can't imagine how big that box is going to be.
yeah,
If they're
no,
all
for
like
sure.
cow miniatures,
Oh,
cow and pig and sheep and stuff. And at the same time, there's going to be Agricola Dead
Dead
Harvest,
Harvest.
which is like
Wow,
a
zombies.
zombie version of Agricola.
Ooh, nice. They've really gone from like a Agricola I see as a I've never played it, but like it sounds like
Oh, it's a
it looks like a very
classic.
peaceful,
Yeah.
like nice farmer type of game, but that's such a funny thing to to do the whole 180
Yeah.
to like a zombie apocalyptic looking game.
Agricola is your classic kind of Uwe
Mhm.
Rosenberg
Yeah.
pastoral farm game.
Mhm.
And yeah, so let's just throw some zombies in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
farms, zombies, like I think it goes hand in hand, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's exciting.
All right, we got a lot to talk about. So let's go straight into backed, bought, and sold.
Mhm.
Do you want to go first?
Sure.
Well, we both received this. We both received it.
We both received it just over the past week or two. I think I got it mid last week, and then you got it early this week.
Yeah.
Galactic Cruise
Yes.
has arrived at our doorsteps. It's
Yes.
I received it. I saw the box, and I was like, "Cool." Probably they did a lot of padding in it because the box was pretty big. I've
It was
never
big.
seen that big of a box for a single board game before. So I opened it, and then the surprise was that the box within the box was not
Not
that
quite as
small,
big.
or it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't quite as big, but also at the same time, it took up like 80% of the box that it came in. And just like if you watch our Instagram feed and one of the unboxing or literal unboxing of the box itself, um, it's a big box. It's truly
Yeah.
it's I mean if, for me at least it's the biggest game that we own now, alongside with the 3D Catan, but I think that doesn't really count because that's just 3D components. But
So the box
it's
that came
very big.
shipped
Yeah.
in was the
Mhm.
size of the Foundations of Rome box. And then within
Mm.
that packaged was the Galactic Cruise box, which is about the size of the Pampero box, but actually maybe a
Yeah.
bit smaller than Pampero.
Yeah.
Smaller than Gloomhaven. Gloomhaven was like massive.
Gloomhaven. Yeah. Mhm.
But yeah, it's a big box. And I was carrying it to the game club last night and waiting for the door to
Mhm.
be open. I'm like, man, this is getting heavy.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
like,
but it and the organization of the box is like superb. Like the way that they just like put together a package of like how to organize the box as well, like made it really easy. Although it was a lot of work to repackage everything after like punching everything out of
yeah,
the cardboards, but it still made it very intuitive
yeah.
how to repackage it.
Well, today's topic of choice
Mhm.
is unboxing.
Yeah.
So we'll save our unboxing experience of Galactic Cruise to the second
Hmm.
part. But we
Yes,
both
I didn't say
received it.
anything. Yeah.
And I have to say thank you to Kinson Key Games. So
Yeah.
they couldn't send us a review copy, but they sent us like a half price coupon basically.
Yeah,
Um,
discounted
and
review
so
cop
we
like
will be
yeah, code.
trying
Mhm.
to do like a proper review of this
Yes. Yeah.
sometime in the next like few episodes.
Yeah.
So and we might actually start like we were discussing before, maybe doing occasional like deep dives into specific games.
Hmm.
Maybe not so much like a review, like we don't necessarily have to give it a grade, but
Yeah.
talking in depth about a game. So
Yeah.
this might be the first one, maybe.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's something that we spoke about a little bit. How like when it comes to like we've been really trying to tackle like this like podcasting space with like unique angles on like the different board gaming experience, and I'm sure there is more to talk about, but also at the same time I think it like like where we would be missing a really big essence of it if we don't actually deep dive in some of the games itself rather than just skimming through a bunch of them.
Yeah, and
So
we
yeah,
kind of want to do that too, right? Like
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
fun to do that. So all
it is.
right.
Yeah,
The other game I received at
yeah.
long
At
last,
last, at long last.
2.5 years since it was in the campaign, November 2022,
Hmm.
Unconscious Mind arrived.
Crazy, crazy. It happened.
It's long
You were
anticipated.
doubting. You were doubting that it would
Yes,
happen,
yes.
but it happened.
And it has not disappointed. I must say I've already played it like
Mm,
3 or 4 times in
mm,
the last like week alone. So it's been a really, really good game we'll talk about in a bit.
mhm.
But thank God it didn't disappoint. Because if that first play disappointed, this thing would I wouldn't have sold it. I would have just burned it. Like well,
Yeah,
not
the
the
burning
plastic parts.
experience would have like superseded the
Yeah.
selling financial gain from it, I guess.
Burn it and like post a video of it on the Instagram.
Like 2.5 years in, disappointed.
And then on the other completely opposite side of promise and delivery, I picked
Mhm.
up a copy of Finspan, which of
Yes.
course, in true Stonemeyer fashion, they announce it and like a few weeks later,
Yeah,
it's
it's
completely
there.
available
It's there.
wherever you want.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah.
And so I had idle time again. This is what happens when you have idle time and idle thumbs. And I saw a copy of Finspan, and so I picked it up. So I also picked that up.
Very nice. It's true. Like I think your review about it, like how like you like fish more than
Yeah.
birds or dragons. I agree.
Yeah.
I think fish are a lot of fun, and my wife is telling me that maybe we should get a copy too because she does like fish more than anything else too.
Well, I think it would fit your guys' current lifestyle. So it probably two-player, you could play it in like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
It's not that big. I mean, it's the same size box as the other games.
Yeah.
And the fish are nice. And I'm mostly like, I'm a Stonemeyer ambassador, so I definitely want to play all the games. And my actual idea was I like fish better than birds. And if this serves me the purpose that Wingspan serves me right now, which is a entry game for new gamers,
Yeah. Like
I actually feel like,
introductory.
yeah, if it was lighter and less draggy than Wingspan,
Yeah.
it would be a better intro game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And
so
this
we'll see.
wouldn't wait, you don't have the bird box, the big bird box anymore, do
I
you?
did at one point, but I
did.
got rid of all
Yeah.
of it. Yeah.
Okay, okay. It would have been funny if Finspan fit in that box as well, but I guess it wouldn't because it's not the one Wingspan.
Yeah, it totally would, especially if you didn't have all the Wingspan expansions.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I
Okay.
wonder if they would come out with like the fan series triple box for Wingspan and then Wormspan and
So-
also the Finspan.
In the Finspan is going to have expansions. There's already mentions in the rulebook, but certain things on the board are for future expansions.
Ooh, yeah.
So for sure, there's going to be more fish coming.
More fish coming. Exciting.
Probably similar to Wingspan from different parts of the world. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right. So, I mean, I had to ditch a few games because of all this.
Yeah.
So, I had to make space for SETI, that kind of squat, longer, rectangular box. And so one of those games had to go. And so Concordia is gone. It was a Concord. Don't get me wrong. It's a fine classic Euro game, but no space for that in my collection. So it was
Right.
gone to make space for SETI, same size. And as we were discussing, I might get rid of Voidfall, but haven't decided yet. And then I got
Yeah.
rid of Space, so just don't really play it. We have lots of other light games now that kind of are a little bit better, less of the dice randomness. So I got rid of Space.
Yeah.
Force Shuffle, again, just like a card game that's kind of, okay. And, when you got games like Pirate King and stuff, maybe you don't need games like Force Shuffle. And so I got rid of Force Shuffle. And I'm also looking for someone to buy my Rococo Deluxe Edition. It's always hard to sell Deluxe Editions.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's a Vital sized box.
Hmm.
to make space for maybe a upcoming Vital game.
That is coming any in this September is the timeline, I think,
Probably
still.
September. Yeah, probably
Yeah.
September.
Yeah.
So, okay,
That is
let's
very
do.
fair. I mean, I think like Concordia you hadn't necessarily had for too long either, eh?
No, I mean, I got it for my birthday last year, and
Hmm.
then we played it maybe a couple times.
Yeah.
It's like a good game. Looks fantastic, of course.
Hmm.
Tool.
Yeah.
Just the theme doesn't really speak to me, and it's
Hmm.
kind of just like it's all area control,
Yeah.
a little bit of deck building.
Hmm.
So it's like, I need this space. I need this space.
You need the space. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So it's been like a couple of weeks since our last
Yeah.
cast.
Yeah.
And so we've got a lot of games that we have played.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, you more than me, but yes,
yeah, why don't you go
you
first,
do.
Rio?
Yeah, sure, 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 sure. So I think I spoke about this last episode as a purchase, like a new purchase game, or all the new purchases I've been able to play quite a bit. Caper Europe being one of them. So it's a two-player only game for different. You get to play in different cities across Europe as masterminds trying to steal the goods from different museums, different very well-known places, and you're trying to be the better of the two masterminds. So it's a bit of a card playing or card choosing game where you're also like it's you're picking number of thieves and also equipping them with different gears. Each thief will have a specific effect and specific condition, and each gear will have different conditions, different effects as well. And it's a tug of war game where you're trying to do essentially better than your opponent. So yeah, I played it a couple of times with my wife. Also, one of one of our friends were here in town as well, and I played with him as well. I mean, you know him, Jonathan from the residency program. Got to play with him as well. I think that was the first time I was able to win because Camilla has been winning against me every time, and I was able to for the first time that Jonathan plays it. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna this is gonna be my win, and then secured that win.
You
So that
solved
was a
it.
fun game.
Solved.
I solved it. Yeah, exactly. I came out of my slump. So the second game that I played or that we played is Ironwood. We've been playing this a number of times. It's a game by Mind Clash Games, and it's again another two-player only game. The Iron Clan versus the Woodwalker. It's a bit. It reminds me of Spirit Island a little bit in a sense that you're playing different cards and basically try to secure three different spots. So the Iron Clan is trying to put three new bases and then flip them and build them. The Wood Walkers is trying to find three spirits within the different forests and different areas and then take them out of the forest to kind of spare them. So it's like whichever group gets first to those three wins. It's also asymmetric in the sense that the two different factions has like its own benefits and its own like I guess strengths. The Woodwalkers attack a lot. The Iron Clan is trying to defend their base and their drill that they're using to get crystals. It's a fantastic game. It's so fun that we've played it already like four times, and every time it brings out different parts of the game. And the more we play, the better we get. So like it kind of shortens the game a little bit as well. So now at this point we can play it within like 30 to 45 minutes, whereas we started like the first time we played it, it took like an hour and a half. So we really like slashed the play time in half, which has been nice, especially with the baby at hand. Finally we played Cascadia. Camilla felt like playing Cascadia. Like I wanted to set up Galactic Cruise, but she was like, "Nope, we're gonna play something lighter."
Much later, way later.
quite significantly lighter. Cascadia is a very OG game of bag. Uh, well, what's the word that I'm looking for? Like
Drafting
backdrafting.
from a display. Yeah.
Yeah, to display, and then you kind of pick and choose, go back and forth between the two player or between the number of players that you're playing with, and you're kind of building your own forest and tableau and hitting certain conditions for different animals. A lot of we had played Harmonies a couple of weeks back whenever we were in Ottawa, and you had mentioned how Harmonies is basically kind of the more crunchier, better, like more brainy version of Cascadia, and like slightly like nicer aesthetically, and we completely agree. I think after playing this, that kind of reconfirmed that a little bit further. So we would most likely want to sell this and then get Harmonies, although Harmonies at this very moment is sold out everywhere. So it'll be eventually when Harmonies is back in stock again that we would be looking.
They had some at they have it at the chapters.
Really? Oh, at the chapters. No way.
It's like $50 or $60 something. It's a little bit more expensive than a game store.
Right.
It was right there. I was just there a few days.
Okay. That's new information to me. So
yeah,
I think
Harmonies is just it involves that third dimension of verticality too that Cascadia doesn't have. So
yeah, for sure. And Cascadia just there's like a little bit of like that randomness and like just that like a bit of like the restriction is a bit much compared to Harmonies. Although like Harmonies, you kind of have a little bit more of that freedom. There's a little bit more room to breathe. Whereas like Cascadia, you're just really focused on the drafting situation and like exactly like the pieces that you need to meet the different conditions. Whereas we'll make a trip to Indigo soon.
Okay.
So yeah, that's all the games that I've played so far.
So I'm going to split mine up into pre-March break and March break. So pre-March break, which seems like ages ago now, but so and I won't talk about all these in detail, but we played a couple more games of House of Fadu, which is a great game. It's actually, sometimes if you don't have time for the Gallerist, we'll just play House of Fadu instead. You get a light experience. So, great game, House of Fadu from Vital. We played our first play of Ezra and Nehemiah. So this is a Garfield game by Shem Phillips. The backstory is that you're leading the Jewish people back to rebuild Jerusalem after it was conquered. And so basically you're trying to rebuild the walls, teach people the Torah, move your tent around, and then burn stuff and rebuild the temple. And so those are the three main actions. And then surrounding this is a complicated system of card placement. So it's not quite like Viscounts where the cards go through on a conveyor. It's placing 3 cards and then placing 3 cards on top of the original 3 cards so that what you cover up is no longer available, but then what you have now changes the actions that you can do. So it's actually a very clever, nice system. And of course, that's probably from one of his other trilogy games, but that I haven't played, maybe from the West Kingdom one. Because his games tend to be like, this is a conglomerate of mechanics from different of the trilogy games, but it comes together quite nicely. It's a little bit, because it's kind of in the desert, I guess it's a little bit beigey. And then there's like, even the red and the blue is a little bit subdued. But it's a nice game. It's quite balanced, and there's lots of ways of going about it. So it's pretty good, and it's not too heavy. I would say like it's medium heavy. It's definitely not as heavy as Inventors or things like that. So it's a nice standalone game outside of the trilogies that steals some of that card mechanic from like Viscounts and stuff. So it's pretty good. I think we just played that 2-player, and I won that handily over my daughter.
Nice.
I think that's a keeper. I wasn't, I have 3 Garfield games now as keepers. 4, one from each trilogy and this one. So, Okay, then we played a whole bunch of games of bananagrams. So, if people don't know, Bananagrams is a game that you can get anywhere, Toys R Us,
Yeah,
whatever. It's
yeah.
basically Scrabble,
Hmm.
but what you have to do is actually it's like a speed. It's like the speed version of Scrabble. Like speed
Hmm.
chess is to chess. And so what you do is you start with a bunch of tiles, and once you've used them all, you add a new tile, and you keep adding tiles. But you can change your words as you go to accommodate the new tiles that you get. And so it's
Mm.
a race. There's a big pool of tiles, and everybody's taking from them. And eventually, whoever uses the last tile, that's the end. And whoever uses all their tiles first wins. So it's a game more about mental agility and working with words and modifying them to fit in new
Mm.
letters as opposed to head down for half an hour to make one word. So
Right.
it's
Yeah.
way more fun than Scrabble. No offense to the Scrabble lovers out there. And
Yeah.
it's way faster and actually can
Hmm.
get your heart going a little bit
Hmm.
because you're like, oh, I gotta, what can I
Yeah. Got to
do?
keep up.
And yeah, and so we played a whole bunch of bananas. It's just great to fill like 5 minutes for a game.
Yeah. Hmm.
Um, okay, so we played our first game of Finspan. So
Hmm.
actually, just me and my wife played this at two-player. And yeah, I mean, we didn't even have to learn it. It's just
Yeah.
basically Wingspan with very small modifications.
Hmm.
The cards are horizontal instead of vertical.
Hmm.
You build a tableau. There's different areas you can put the fish. You know, there's instead of eggs, there's like fish eggs now instead of bird eggs. So it's very similar. Instead of going across a habitat, you dive down. It
Hmm.
is much lighter. There's no food resources. There's no bird feeder. There's no center display of available cards. It cuts out a lot of stuff from Wingspan, focusing mostly
Hmm.
just on putting the stuff in your tableau and
Hmm.
and getting schools of fish, which is like three small fish combined into one. And
Hmm.
that's basically it. It's like pretty easy, 4 rounds, 6 turns around, 24 very quick turns. And it's as little as that. And so I think we played it in like 45 minutes with like no learning. And
Hmm.
it's got a lot of cards though. So there's a lot of replayability. There's built in expansion space, as I already mentioned, for future fish types from different
Yeah.
types of seas, I guess.
Hmm.
Has the anglerfish, my favorite fish of all time. So I'm already satisfied.
Nice. Yeah.
And yeah, it's super easy. Like I think you could teach it to somebody in about 10 minutes and play a game in like 40 minutes to an hour.
Hmm.
So actually I think it's a much better intro to gaming game than
Yeah.
Wingspan. Um,
Mm.
Especially if you want to introduce 3 or 4 other people, because Wingspan at 4 or 5 players really drags.
It drags on for quite some time.
Yeah. So I actually really like Finspan, and I think it's a good intro game. I think people should give it a try. Ignore all the hoo
All
ha
the
about.
negativities.
I mean, come on. There's tons of games out there that have done similar, and I'm pretty sure Finspan was just a joke, Jamie's joke, just to have fun, and everybody's taking it so seriously. Gosh, people
Yeah,
gotta lighten up.
for sure. I mean, it like it's like there are way more like less effort, multiple kinds of games out there, like the pandemics of the world, like that has like way less effort put into.
That just cash in, right?
Yeah, exactly. Compared
Yeah.
like Finspan, actually, like there is like it sounds like I've never played it yet, but it sounds like they have actually put in like thought and effort into like making it into something different. So that's cool to hear.
Not least of which, 130 or whatever new artwork of fish, right? Like
Yeah, yeah.
that itself takes time. It's
Hmm.
not just a reprint or photos, right? It's still a quality production. And it goes with the other spans if you wanted a medium, light, and a heavy version. So, fair
Yeah,
enough.
for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Arcs. So I went to one of our residents' house and we played a 4-player game of Arcs. And I tell you what, this game at 4-player is a whole new dimension to 3 and definitely much different from 2. And there was a lot of back and forth. The conquering and taking territory and military side of it is much more apparent in 4-player. because there's only so much space, and so you're put much more together. Whereas in two player, you could basically ignore each other. And the stealing of things. I mean, I won't go. I could probably spend half an hour talking about this game because it was so epic the way I won, actually, from behind by stealing resources and denying and double scoring the ambitions. But anyway, it was an epic, epic game. It solidified this game in my mind as an amazing game. And the other three people enjoyed it. And so hopefully we can continue to play same group, like 4 player, and get really like good at
Good
it.
at the game. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool. That's so it was a closer game than you expected because the other 3 players, it was
So
their
so
first time playing,
Brian
right? Like, yeah.
Brian, one of the players, got way ahead at the beginning, and then he was hoarding all the relic resources, so nobody could do anything with relics. And then in the last, he was gonna win in the fourth round, and I was about 8 points behind him. And then I managed to raid him. Rolled lucky on my raid dice, stole 2 of the relics, which then flipped that ambition that he had declared to me. And then
Oh,
I had both cartels, and so easily scored that relic. So I scored 14 points in chapter 4, and just got enough to 27 to win the game at the end of chapter 4. So it was like a sneak attack victory,
that's
which
crazy.
was amazing.
That's epic. That's pretty epic.
And part of that was realizing I had the lead on the last round and I didn't want it because I didn't want to do the card that I had. I needed to pivot to something or copy somebody else. And then, so I passed the lead, and then the person who led the suit that I needed. And then I copied it in order to do the win. And that was key as well. So
Right.
a lot of things had to happen in that last chapter to make it happen. But when it happened, it was like, I win from nowhere. It was awesome.
Yeah. That's an epic game. That's awesome.
Yeah. So the next game I'm going to talk about is Unconscious Mind.
Yeah. It needs to be talked about. Yeah.
It's a beautiful, beautiful game. The artwork's by Vincent Dutrait. I think him and Ian O'Toole are probably the 2 best artists / graphic designers in the game, in the industry right now. But this game is beautiful. The production is beautiful, and I have retail. I saw the deluxe edition last night at the board game meetup, and it is like extra beautiful. But even the retail is beautiful. It takes up the whole table, which is weird because the pieces themselves are not very big, but you have so much stuff that it just takes up the whole table. And okay, so basically this is a game set in 1900 in Wiens when Freud was expounding his psychoanalysis theories. And so you're one of his contemporaries, which are actual people, and trying to raise the reputation and treat patients, basically. And so there's this interesting system where when you gain reputation, Freud also gains reputation, and that's the timer. And so, and reputation gains are rare. And so what happens is there's a lot of reputation at the beginning, a lot as everybody gets established at the end, but there's like a lull in the middle. So the tempo is that you feel like it's racing forward, and then it slows down, and then it races to the end again. So that race to the end can catch people off. Anyway, so it's a typical Euro game. There's a lot of stuff going on, but very interesting things. And the game is very thematic. So you have to use coffee and give heart-shaped boxes of chocolates to your patients. You have to analyze their dreams by generating and spending insights. And then the dreams give you therapy. And then when you have enough therapy to give the patient catharsis, you get some bonuses. And then you can cure the patient. That gives you victory points. And then the patients give you ongoing bonuses or end game scoring. There's a map of Wiens to move around. That gives you little bonuses and things. There's like an ink pot to move around, which gives you like a wingspan style tableau building part of the game where you can trigger rows and columns. So it gets pretty complicated to keep track of all these things. And then there's a little bit of a runaway final scoring problem, slight one, but overall a really enjoyable game, very thematic. And even my wife has enjoyed playing it. And actually,
even your
she doesn't normally like listening to me talk for an hour to learn a game. And then she just finds the games, while fun, are too much, like too much to do. But she actually enjoyed this, I think, because it's so thematic and it looks beautiful. The little see-through kind of grief layers that go on top of the patients with the Rorschach diagrams is like really cool.
Yeah, I saw those. Like it's
Yeah.
so. What kind of meaning? Like, what significance does it have by
Yeah,
putting
so
those
that's
on? Like,
the grief layer. So when you get a patient, you put one of those on top. Graphically, what it serves as is it increases the amount of therapy points they need, and then it gives you a bonus when you create catharsis. So that grief layer leaves, and you get the bonus, and it crosses off their in-game or end-game bonus until you've gotten
yeah.
rid of it. So it's a graphical, but also part of the thematic nature. Like, so you can give a patient catharsis to get rid of the grief layer and get their bonus, but you don't get the victory points from them until you cure them. So even at the end of the game, you could still get their ability or their end game scoring, but you don't get their, 10, 12 points from curing them if you haven't cured them. And they sit in your office taking up space. So it's it's an excellent game. And it does take a while to get into. So we played it again for the third or fourth time last night at our local game group. Shout out to the Spiria game group, who some of them are maybe listening. And I played it with this guy, Tim, and this lady, Nadia, and my daughter, 4-player game. And because they were all new players, except for my daughter, who had some trouble. I sort of completely like murdered them like by 100 points. But yeah, I think it's just an amazing game and worth the wait, I guess. I don't know. Is it worth the wait for? I don't know, but is a keeper for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Did they in the campaign, in the Kickstarter side of things, like did they explain what the difficulty of fulfilling it was over this
thing? I don't know. Maybe they did. I didn't really pay any attention to it.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So the 4-player game is also so different from the 2-player, because 2-player is just you and somebody else. You actually can avoid triggering a lot of reputation, and so you can actually have an opportunity to treat like way more patients. And like when I played with my daughter, I scored almost 300 points, which is a lot. I thought it was a lot, but apparently it's not. I thought I was doing something wrong. And then with 4-player, it was more like 150. So it's interesting. Different experience at different player counts, which is cool.
Yeah.
All right. Before we talk about March break, we'll talk about what we just did today, which was a game of Ark Nova. Decided to break it out again. And so we talked about this many times before. Me and my daughter love playing Ark Nova 2-player, hyper competitive. And she just didn't have it this morning. She made some mistakes. I kicked her butt, and I had the side entrance from the first turn, which is just a crazy overpowered economic advantage. And together with the ice cream map, and anyway, it's complicated. And then the global breeding, it was easy game for me to really kick butt in. Okay, and then we just played Slay the Spire. We carried on from a month ago when we played up to Act 3. So we jumped right back into Act 3, and we totally forgot about how our decks were supposed to work, and we got our faces crushed by our first elite and finished that in about 10 minutes. So we completely failed at Slay the Spire.
But I mean, I think depending on the cards that come out, first elite could be tough.
Yeah, well, we just had such a gap between the first
last time you played
this part of it, and we just kind of lost the thread. I think it's hard to do that. And
for sure.
There does also seem to be a huge difficulty jump from Act 2 to Act 3. Yeah. Oh well, it is what it is. We'll have to prepare better.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So our friends Love Events, they came up from Toronto. So the story behind them, they're the people I mentioned last week who we played Game of Thrones with till 3 a.m. before any of us have kids. Yeah. Our lives are obviously different now. They have 2 young boys who are a handful. And so they can't really play games, but when we get together, we try and play games. And as long as their boys are looked after, which was my daughter's job, basically, they're competitive gamers. And so we played some games. We played a game of Galapagos with the whole family, and that was fun. I played Harmonies with Lil and her daughter, her son, who is
Yeah.
about 8, and he actually beat both of us in his first game.
No way! Wow,
It was
that's
so I was playing
amazing.
this game and I'm looking at his tableau. I'm like, wow, that's like really good. And so I said to him, I was like, hey, are you doing this on purpose or is this by accident?
It just happened.
And he's like, I think it's by accident. I'm like,
It's
okay.
a
And then he
happy
beat me by
accident.
2 points. He beat me by
That's
two
crazy.
points.
Yeah. I guess the younger you are, the more you sometimes have like a greater spatial
Yeah.
cognizance of things.
I mean, those are certainly the
Yeah.
kind of things I'm not good at, like
Yeah.
spatial and like
Yeah.
that kind of rigid tableau building. And I guess
Yeah.
it's just in his brain, and he just like
Mhm.
flew through it. I'm like, that's like a
Yeah.
beautiful tableau. It's like, yeah.
Exactly the objective. You ticking all the boxes. Yeah.
We did play a 4-player game of Unconscious Mind with them, and they really enjoyed it. It took about 3 hours. They thought it was satisfying, beautiful, a great play experience, same sort of things.
Yeah.
We played some hyper speed competitive games of Bananagrams.
Yeah. Nice.
And then finally, the moment everybody's been waiting for, we got our 4-player first play of Galactic Cruise.
Yes.
So this game was a little bit epic because we had kids in and out. We had stops for meals, and it took 7 hours to play.
Yes. Wow.
Which is a lot. We actually split it overnight with an overnight rest. The first round, like to the first AGM, took us like 3.5 hours, and then the next morning we got through the last 2 rounds in this like a couple of 2.5 hours, 3 hours. So yeah, it's a great game. So, Ian O'Toole once again makes a very complicated game very intuitive. You don't need the player aids even, which I find is what happens when you play Ian's games. Like, you don't need the player aids. The player aids are excellent. I thought actually that the rule book was one of the best rule books I've ever seen in a video game. Not video game, in a board game.
Yeah.
Is lots of color, beautiful material, lots of examples. And actually, although it's like a thick book, only like 40% of it is actually for the game. There's like lots of pages on solo and 2-player variation and blah, blah, blah. The production, like you mentioned, the game trays are really amazing. The cardboard trays for some of the pieces were too tight, but over time they just expanded and they're fine now. The meeples are super chunk. Like that expert worker meeple is really big and feels good. Those cogs are really big.
Yeah,
pieces.
those cogs are so big.
Feels really good. And the game is very thematic, to the point where you're like moving your worker up the launch tower, and I count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we would count down, and then my daughter would use her sound box thing to make an applause sound, and we would all clap whenever the cruise launched. It was kind of funny.
That's amazing.
But yeah, very cool game. Mechanically, I mean, it's very Lacerda. There's like a track, the reputation track is like his influence tracks, which you can go up on, but then spend to give you emergency resources. There's cards that come and go. The agenda cards are a little bit unbalanced. Some of them are really crazy powerful. But most of them are okay. There's the really cool thing is that you launch your cruise, and as it flies around space, it gets you resources and victory points. But while it's flying around the space, you still do all the stuff on the ground to prepare for the next cruise. And so that's like a really cool, like simultaneous, almost like you're playing 2 games. And so that's really interesting thing about it. The board itself is a bit bland art-wise. But the ships themselves are cool. I don't know who came up with like 150 different rooms and things you could have on a space cruise to do.
They're all realistic though. They're like the real world stuff that exists.
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
mine was the deluxe, so it came with the 2 expansions, which is just another 2 extra 48 each sets of room like segments for your thing.
Mhm. Yeah.
And it's just a really nice package in a big box and an excellent game. Actually, people thought that that was better than Unconscious Mind.
Mm.
And a little bit more fun because you're like launching this cruise and you're like applauding and then
Yeah.
coming back down to earth is a little bit anticlimactic, but you're coming back down to earth,
Yeah.
right? Literally, that's the
Yeah.
phrase, come back down to earth.
Mhm.
But yeah, and then there's a very vital thing where you put your workers, but you can bump workers and then you get bonuses from being bumped. And there's a flexibility with which actions you can pick because of the cogs.
Mhm.
And so there's a lot of stuff going on. Again,
Mhm.
another hour-long teach, but a
Mhm.
super fun game experience and highly recommended. Actually, Luke at Broken Meeple gave this a 9 out of 10, which is high praise from that man.
Mm. Yeah.
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 It is a bit long. There is AP,
Mhm.
but not too much. And
Yeah.
definitely you can speed things up by just taking your turn when people are just deciding on little things.
Mhm. Mhm.
But overall, I think it is an excellent game. So really lucked out on these 2 games, Unconscious Mind, Galactic Cruise, both excellent Euro games
Mhm. Mhm.
that are both look good and play nicely, quite thematic. Both some of the most thematic games I've played recently.
Mm. Mhm.
So really good.
Yeah, I can't wait to play mine. It's just sitting there collecting dust so far the past
Yeah.
week. But soon enough, I will. I'm gonna make a commitment to play it.
Okay. So there's still some gaming to go in the last 3 days of March break. My daughter
Hmm.
has a list of things she wants to get done while she doesn't have dance and everything. Because after
Yeah.
March break, dance jail ramps up into comp season. So
Mm. Yeah.
so more to report on next time.
Yeah. I'm sure there will be some Lacerdas in that list. I'm sure.
Yeah,
Or
she
I
wants to
would.
play brass for some reason. I
Hmm.
think somebody mentioned
Okay.
it last time. So then she's like, "Oh, I want to play brass."
Hmm.
She hasn't played Finspan.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and yeah, there's some other things she wants to play. So we'll
Hmm.
do it for sure.
Nice. Very excited.
Okay, today's topic is unboxing.
Yes.
What is it? Why do people like videos of it?
Hmm.
What is the experience of unboxing? What are some good
Hmm.
and bad games we've unboxed? So we're going to talk
Hmm.
about unboxing, which is a fun topic.
Yes. Yeah. And we've unboxed the number. I mean, you've unboxed way more games than I have, but yeah, I think we've got unboxed enough games to be semi-experts
For
on the
sure, for
topic.
sure.
So we're looking forward to discussing this further.
All right, so we'll take a short break and we'll be right
Yeah.
back. All right, we're back.
Hello.
Okay,
To
Real.
the
So
topic.
today's topic is unboxing.
Yes.
Why? I'm assuming you like unboxing new games.
Oh, yes.
I haven't
Yeah.
met, actually, I would say, I was about to say I haven't met anybody who doesn't like unboxing, but I would be wrong. My brother, for
Oh,
whatever
yeah.
reason, doesn't, maybe it's not that he doesn't like it, but he doesn't care about unboxing the game. And because frequently I'll go to his house
Mhm.
and he'll have games there still in shrink. And he'll be like, here,
Yeah.
open this up, learn it, and teach me.
It's your
I'm
job.
How has this been sitting here not unboxed? I don't understand.
Yeah.
So, what do you like about unboxing a game?
So I think your brother is probably similar to Camilla a little bit, where she doesn't really mind or care for it. It's like I think unboxing board games has gotten to the point where I think they've studied the whole, or they've just stolen all the data from Apple and like the unboxing experience new Apple products bring. The new iPhones, new iPads, MacBooks, whatnot. Like you open the box and like it just like sucks that air. Like there's enough resistance for the box to be a little hard to open, but like it opens, and then there's that moment of fresh era of fresh board game, like just the sparkle just coming into your face, and then you just like there's a new factory smell to it, and like the like everything, like if it's done right, then it's a whole experience. And I don't know where to get started.
I
like,
think you're right. Like
yeah.
Apple changed the packaging industry, basically.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Since Apple, everybody, no matter how small the thing that you're buying, has to have some kind of coolness to the packaging, right? That's all from Apple. Apple started that for sure.
Yeah.
And I wonder if games went through the same thing, but like you're hitting on a, I don't know, some basic thing ingrained in our amygdalas that we like to open new things. And in Pulp Fiction, when they open the case and it's like gold light coming out of it, and the guy's like, it's beautiful. It's kind of like that.
It does feel that way. Yeah. Yeah.
And you're right. There's the smell. There is like that cardboardy smell. I wonder if they design it in such a way to calibrate how much suction there is on the box when you open it. Because it's more satisfying if you have to put a little bit of effort into it.
It is, because like you put a bit of effort into it, and also like it's, I think, but also like the even the getting rid of the shrink, when you're cutting open the shrink, and like it just that plastic peeling across, and like just taking it off, and then it just like crumbles up on the side, and that's a once in a board game experience, because like once it's opened, it's done. Like that, the magic is gone.
Yeah, I mean, you could re-shrink it again, but like that's going a bit far.
Yeah,
that's going a bit too far.
For the experience, to repeat the experience.
I like actually sometimes just staring at the cover of the box if the art is nice. For sure. Yeah. If the art sucks, then you don't do that. And then sometimes if it's a big box, like Foundations of Rome is huge, I was just like, what is this like crazy size box? That is definitely less of a feeling when you have like a little game.
Yeah, for sure.
And then it's the feel of it. It's the visceral feel of opening the box, and the box fart and the smell. Sometimes if it's like all the plastic on the top, they get that smell. Usually it's the instruction,
the cardboard,
on the top.
Instruction booklet,
So let me tell you about this Galactic Cruise unboxing experience then, because I don't think you got this with the standard edition. Maybe did you get like a welcome letter and all that kind of thing? Yeah,
the standard edition has that too. So it's in the box. Yeah, everything like the linear lanyard with the supervisor tag.
So for those who don't know, and hopefully no spoilers, but whatever. Yeah. So this is the first time I've ever seen this in a game, and I've unboxed a lot of games, including a lot of special editions. And this is not just special edition. I guess it's every game. So you open the box, and there's an envelope, like one of those law style envelopes where it's tied at the back around the circle.
I was thinking about that, how for like to package this, like I just imagine a person literally tying every single one of those. Because it's not as simple as just having the rule book, or just like having a thing there to just like that motion. I don't think is that easily like creatable via a machine.
No. So if you watch SETI, the CGE published videos on YouTube of how they package and make the game. It is, a lot of it is hand done. So this would literally have to be one person winding up the rope.
Winding up
and it's not that easy. Like you have to make sure it's tight to the thing, and so kudos to the rope winder at Kensington.
Yes.
But so it's like a law style envelope with like employee orientation or something on the front, and you open it up. There's a letter from the Galactic Cruise CEO, which is a made up person. And then there's a lanyard, like an actual functional lanyard I could use for work if I wanted to say Galactic Cruise all over the hospital. And a supervisor like ID card, which is the first player marker, which is genius.
Yeah.
My wife will never admit it, but she loved wearing that thing.
As the first player.
And my daughter must be first player because she wants to wear this lanyard all the time. And
That's
then
awesome.
this
Yeah.
is the pièce de résistance, right? So you get this workstation like login procedures pamphlet. You
Yeah.
open it up and it's the repacking instructions for the game, which you
Yeah.
need because it's like 4 layers, lots of trays and everything, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is just so that
And
experience made this game awesome.
yeah, because that like and the way that the design, I'm sure Ian O'Toole was involved in it, but like the way that like the boxing, like the box, like repackaging is put together looks as if it's like a building floor explanation. So like it's kind of like a pamphlet of a building where you're kind of like looking for spaces. So like it's just looks as if it's like a yeah, like there are different floors, there are like instructions on how you need to kind of like go about repackaging it, like starting from the first floor to kind of
Yeah.
work upwards and whatnot. But
Yeah.
and like the way it's just the design of it makes it look as if it's like a real actual pamphlet
Yeah.
until you wouldn't know until you really read into it and like
Yeah.
open it up. Yeah.
And I tell you what, so I spent 45 minutes unpacking everything and
Yeah.
repacking everything because it takes that long.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of stuff and it's
Yeah.
complicated and you don't know what everything
Mm-hmm.
is.
Yeah.
But that pamphlet is the game breaker. Otherwise, you have to go online. And
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
there are a lot of games who have a big, complicated repacking procedures that don't give you instructions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, Eagle Griffin only just started doing it with their like last couple of games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that deserves a kudos. And then to make it themed as well, not just a blank
Yeah.
piece of paper with the instructions on it, but very
Mm-hmm.
thorough, themed, colored. Here's your workstation orientation. Like that's just excellent. It's just excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so the next part of unboxing is punching. I don't really like opening cards, with those rippable. Those are sometimes really fiddly, and you don't want to damage the cards. But punching cardboard pieces has got to be one of the most satisfying parts of unboxing a game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Except
Yeah.
if I don't know what it is about the cardboard that makes it like this, but if you punch it and it rips,
Oh,
that's the worst.
yeah.
That ruins
It's
the
the worst.
whole
It ruins
game.
the
You can
entire-
return it
Yeah.
and get a new one.
Yeah, yeah, because like once you have certain pieces, it's like bent cards. Like if you were to play cards and if one of them is bent and you know what card it is, then you'll know that card forever.
Yeah. That is the worst
Yeah.
when you like punch the piece
Oh.
and it rips the surface drawing or picture or whatever. That's the worst.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
and
for
also some of them are satisfying to pop and some of them really are not.
hmm
I don't know. I guess it depends on the cardboard but generally like popping the cardboard is
It's
fun.
an experience. It's fun.
Satisfying.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's I've bought a few like games where it's like secondhand and like it's already done for me. But like yeah, so it does like almost like rob me from the joy of buying a game because it's like that like I feel like the unboxing and the popping of the things and like kind of organizing in itself is kind of like a great like it's a value of the game that you're buying. Although you could argue, I think there is a gripe about some things where the effort, like I wonder when the effort of unboxing and like the things that you need to do crosses the line of
Mhm.
convenience. Yeah, when it becomes too much, I think that line I draw at stickers. So whenever you have
Yes.
meeple pieces, and then
You have to put the stickers on.
you have to put the stickers on.
Because
them.
I suck at that.
Yeah, I'm like that. That's where I draw the line. That like should have been printed on those meatballs rather than it being a sticker system.
So there are a couple of those things. So
Yeah.
putting stickers on for
Mhm.
sure, because I always put them on Cooking and then they're stuck and it looks horrible.
Yeah.
Some people's dual player mats now you have to fold and stick down yourself, which
Yeah.
is fine. It's cheaper and they tend not to bend as much, but that is an extra step that I don't particularly enjoy. So Unconscious Mind, for example, you have to take the thin film of plastic off all the grief layers.
Ooh.
That is cumbersome and time consuming.
Yeah.
So another thing that it's like, I get why those layers are there, but it's kind of annoying. And then, so those are, these kind of, when it goes a little bit two extra. Oh, and then Slate Aspire, I had to sleeve like 400 cards.
Oh yeah, sleeving 400 cards. Good thing they came with sleeves, but also at the same time,
Yeah.
you had to sleeve 400.
Now some people sleeve all their
Yeah,
games, and so fine.
yeah,
But yeah.
yeah.
So there are ways to ruin it. What are some other things that ruin an unboxing for you? So you already said if you buy secondhand, like you don't get the experience at all.
Another another thing that ruins unboxing for me is whenever there is just like no inserts whatsoever in place, where like the board game itself just is like a box where a bunch of little plastic bags just like live and hover on. After repackaging it, like there is like just zero satisfaction of the repackaging experience. That's I guess that's where like deluxe editions end up coming in, where like something like that is like kind of reserved for that higher grade. But then I have also seen board games where like basically the base edition already has that kind of like that accommodate it. I think Keys on Games like is one of those, or what's the name of the game? Keymaster. Keys on is great too, but Keymaster Games, I think your brother collects all Keymaster games, right? But they are like they have only one version of like most games, and it's just like they just provide top notch quality of a board game.
So insert definitely helps.
The insert from Wingspan Asia.
Right. Yeah. Inserts do help. We sometimes,
but only if the inserts are good.
Yeah.
So I'll give you an example.
Billion bags.
Yeah.
So Nucleum.
Yes.
So Nucleum came with an insert, but it was pieces of cardboard that you had to put together like in a Jenga puzzle. Mm-hmm. And that was really difficult and tricky to do. And then everything didn't fit in the insert properly, and it's a mess. Mm-hmm. So if you're gonna insert, like, do an insert, like if you're not gonna insert, fine, but provide the bags. Now, I happen to have a huge bag full of all sorts of spare bags, because a lot of the games that do have inserts, the stuff comes in the bags, and then you put the stuff in the insert, and then you have extra bags. But I shouldn't have to provide Ziplocs for your provide the bags, and provide enough bags. It's always a pain also when there's not enough bags.
Yeah, you run out of bags. I mean, extra bags I think is fine, but not having enough is definitely a pain.
Yeah. So those are kind of little things that kind of like ruin an unboxing experience when it doesn't fit what your expectation, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, for sure.
What do you think about like packaging, amount of packaging, like paper versus plastic packaging? So the new thing is trying to be environmental, right? And so some people are wrapping their games in like paper, basically. Yeah. And you think it matters to the experience?
I mean, environmentally speaking, probably going with paper is the way to go. Although at the same time, I mean, I guess water should never be close to board games to start with. But in the event of I mean, most like brand new games do kind of get wrapped in plastic first, and then within it, the one in particular I'm thinking about is what am I thinking about? There's a little card game that we recently got, and inside of it, the cards themselves are wrapped in actual just paper, instead of having plastic and then more plastic within it. So that was like I find it to be that in itself, like paper wrapping is actually quite pleasant as well. So there is no like I don't like, I think there is definitely like more creative ways of going about it. One thing that I do like want to point out about the environmentally friendly bags that are kind of like plastic, but kind of like paper, but not like it just rips as if it's paper, but then also it kind of has the texture like plastic. This In particular, the Stonemeyer games recently have been using more of those like recyclable bags, I think, and they have been a bit of a pain in the butt to use because they're not as durable as plastic, so the reusability is just not quite there. They rip quite easily, but then they're also not like they're like they don't feel like the most recycle. Maybe they are recyclable. I don't really know, but they don't like. It doesn't feel like a thing to kind of after unpackaging, like it doesn't feel like I would need to. I should be recycling it right away per se.
Yeah.
So that confuses me a little bit, I guess.
The other kind of annoying thing about unboxing
Yeah.
is when you've unboxed it and then it doesn't fit back in the box.
Oh, that's the worst. Yeah.
So White Castle's a little bit like that. Ezra and Nehemiah, there's lid lift. It's like, slightly bigger box. Helped out a little bit. I really like the games where the unboxing is part of the thematic experience. So Galactic Cruise was like that. The other one is the deluxe edition of Let's Go to Japan. Comes wrapped in the cloth like a Japanese parcel. And it's beautiful. And so you literally have to unwrap it to get at the game. And it's like, that's part of the thematic experience of going to Japan. So it's like, that's a really cool one as well.
That's, it's common for bento boxes to be wrapped that way. So
that's
it's
right.
really cool to, have seen that all come together.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you had any games with surprise elements? Hidden stuff.
Element. Yeah.
So
I guess, for some of the Lacerda games, I think, I was surprised by it because I wasn't part of the Kickstarter. But like basically the back of the big board games come with like a beautiful art piece.
Yeah, I really like that.
So that was like, I was expecting like, sometimes like there are like the 2-player side and like 3-4-player side. This time around, like it's just literally just like Ian O'Toole going crazy with his art and just putting like a beautiful piece together on one of the sides, and then like the other side is the game player side. So that was a bit of a surprise to me.
Yeah, like the back of the weather machine board is just this art without the graphical overlay. It's just like really nice.
Yeah, I want to almost like just take that and hang it on a wall. It'd be a nice piece.
Sometimes the inside of the box cover or the sides of the box have special art as well. And sometimes it's just like an ad. I hate the boxes that come with ads around the outside. I really hate that actually.
It's like I spent so much money already to buy the game. I don't mind a pamphlet inside, but like the box itself to have for it to have
that is a nice surprise when you find the extra art in there.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't want to give away any spoilers, but in some of, so let's say this is probably maybe specific to like legacy games, but in Pandemic Legacy, for example, the bottom of the box is a secret. You have at one point in the game, you actually have to lift the insert out, and there's secret components underneath that you never knew was there. And because
really cool.
When you play a legacy game, there are components you're not supposed to open, and they're in boxes and stuff. Fine. But this is literally under everything else. Is like, what? And it's like a map extension. You're like, what the heck? And I was like, wow, that's awesome. That's maybe not to do with unboxing, but it's kind of like a surprise that you weren't expecting. Yeah.
And one surprise that I was thinking, this was me buying Weather Machine by Lacerda, Vital Lacerda, second hand. So I didn't necessarily, I knew that the person that bought it, like kind of like bought some extras with like the metal pieces and whatnot with those, the cogs, the wheels were all metal pieces. But then one day I was like just randomly thinking about just taking everything out just to kind of set everything up. And then at the very bottom of the box, there was a little card with Vital's signature on it. So that's like an extra piece that you can get if you pay a little bit extra, like during the Kickstarter. But I wasn't aware of that being part of this particular box. So that was like a very pleasant surprise for me. Kind of felt like a score of buying a secondhand board game from a guy in
Yeah.
Ottawa. Yeah.
Yeah. I like the other thing, like before you even touch it, when you look at these games, sometimes you see the lid is lifted like an inch or 2 inches from being down because you know the inside is just stuffed. And so I liked seeing that. And then like getting all the stuff while doing the whole thing. And then when you push it back down, it's flush.
It now fits again. Yeah, flush
good
again.
job, well done.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, for sure.
Final thing we'll talk about. Why do you think unboxing videos of anything, to be honest, not just board games, are so popular? Because you're not doing it. So you're not getting any of the things that we talked about, like most of the visceral feels of it, you're not getting. Why do you think they're so popular?
So I think, I mean, to some extent, it's like you're kind of ruining your own surprise by watching a full unboxing video. But also, I think in the day and age that we live in, where like we have so many options, and also right now with like none of us have like infinite resources to buy all the board games. I mean, I think with some exceptions for those board game reviewers that have like shelves and shelves full of board games. Even them, like they would like be getting rid of board games over time. But yeah, like basically by watching those videos, like you kind of get an idea of what the production level is of a specific board game. Like what you get a sense of the board game, like other than a playthrough, like unboxing, you kind of like get an understanding of what you're kind of signing up for before signing up for it, like before spending any actual money. You kind of get a general feel for it, right?
So do you feel like, because right now there's a big cultural phenomenon of trailers. Now you have trailer for the trailer for the trailer. And then finally, like video games, movies, TV shows, it's all like this, right? Like, 2 weeks time, there's a trailer for the trailer. Like, so do you think watching an unboxing is kind of like a trailer?
So,
especially in games, because a lot of times it's like the pre-campaign copy or whatever, right? Like,
right, it's not the final thing yet.
Maybe it's like a trailer then.
Yeah, maybe it is like a trailer, but like with some like it does reveal some of the aspects of what that experience will be. I think, I mean, what the content creators that do unboxing well is the ones that captures the sound and like different angles and just good lighting and everything. Like when that is done well, like you kind of get a glimpse of that unboxing experience even through a video, even like although you don't like get that physical aspect of it. But sometimes, like, I think there are content creators that capture like a snippet of it.
It's funny because like Tom Vassell at Dice Tower, they don't really do unboxing videos, but he does the occasional video where, because they get, I don't know, 50 big boxes every day, where he just unboxes the box to see what the game is inside. Those are kind of funny because he just looks at them and throws them out. Kind of just unboxing
like, cool,
the box.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you watch unboxing videos?
So I mean, not in particular for board games per se, but for like I think I am very into tech YouTube videos. So a lot of like the more expensive stuff, I guess, like the different levels, different tiers of MacBooks that I will never get, different tiers of phones that I will never get. I think, or like different, like just things that like I will most definitely not get in my life. I like to watch those unboxing videos to just kind of get a feel for different phones, different things that are out there.
Yeah.
But
I guess it goes hand in hand.
Yeah, I haven't seen many board game ones.
Yeah, I guess it kind of goes hand in hand with the improvement in quality of packaging, right, that we talked about earlier. Yeah. So if people are putting in the effort to package things nicely, a lot of people are interested in what that looks like, I guess.
Yeah.
Especially things that they can't get or aren't getting yet. So like trailer kind of phenomenon. So yeah, I can see it. I mean, I don't watch unboxings myself, but I think I can understand why people would watch an unboxing video. I mean, I used to do those kind of videos when I did the Warhammer stuff, and people would just like watching me cut like a clamshell pack and take a miniature out that's just gray. I mean, unassembled. I mean, ooh, look at this sprue. It's like, why is this interesting to watch? But I don't know. People find it interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there are channels out there that literally like put like most of their effort into the unboxing experience, or like especially when it comes to like cards, like I'm sure for Magic the Gathering or like
revealing
Pokemon,
the cards,
revealing, like opening and like basically seeing kind of sharing the luck of draw with a bigger audience and kind of experiencing that together. I think there is that element of it.
Yeah. I used to get these very expensive Forge World models, and so I would unbox those, and they would be huge and lots of pieces and everything. And so a lot of people wouldn't buy those models. And so I guess I can see where people want to watch those unboxings. Those were always very popular videos for whatever reason.
It's the exclusivity, like I kind of getting a glimpse of that exclusive like part of the hobby, and being able to kind of take part of and like just share the glimpse of the experience. I think there's some art in it. There's
also
cool to be able
like
to
a lot of videos these days on like, here's my haul, or here's all the crap I bought at the store or whatever today, you know. So I guess this kind of feeds into that too. Here's the newest game I got. Let's crack it open, right? So there's a lot of that kind of semi voyeurism in media. So it's kind of like that. Look, I got this game. You can watch me open it. Yeah. Okay. So that's a fun little topic. You know, unboxing. I think it's something that as we already discussed, not everybody cares too much about it. Actually, so initially, my daughter would be with me for every unboxing and help me punch out all the pieces and stuff. She really loved it. Now she actually doesn't care that much. She's over it.
She's unboxed enough board games.
But I love it. Like, I can't have a game sitting there for more than 24 hours shrink wrapped. I must get at it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that's agree. Like weird to me.
It's like, I mean, that's I'm sure some folks will disagree with us regarding this phenomenon, but I think both of us can agree that unboxing is an art in itself, is an experience, is something that should be cherished and should be enjoyed, and I think it's just a part of like the whole board gaming hobby. I think unboxing and like just getting things together. Like, I think you also get a better understanding of the game itself in the process of the unboxing. I think
well, you can learn what all the parts, all the components are. Especially if the rulebook is good and has a nice list of them all.
Exactly.
That's how I learned Galactic Cruise, because there's a lot of stuff. So like,
there's a lot of stuff.
These are this.
You now
and these
know
are
all
this.
the terminologies and like where what components go.
Yeah, exactly. So if you have a fantastic unboxing story, let us know. Send us an email, 2asians1board@gmail.com. We'll try and post more unboxing videos on the Instagram, because they are popular. And okay, well, that's our little talk for today. And do follow us on Instagram, 2asians1board. We're almost at 1,500 followers, Rio.
Yes, a milestone that I never thought we would hit, but we're almost there. Maybe exciting.
We'll put an unboxing for 1,500. So follow us so we can get to unbox something. We'll have to get something to unbox.
And then it'll say 1,500 like in the box. Like,
that's right.
I'll preemptively.
Let's just make a box with the word 1,500 in. Okay, thank you everybody for listening and following and subscribing. We really appreciate it, and we'll see everybody next time.
See you in the next one.